Good afternoon. Happy Monday. My name is Alicia. I am the Fanciful Flamingo, and this is my floss tube channel. And look at this, guys. I'm back 2 times in 1 year. Stop the craziness. And in 2 weeks. So thank you for all the wonderful, sweet welcome back comments and understanding for my almost year hiatus from FlossTube. But I'm so happy to be back. I'm so happy to be stitching again. And I have definitely caught the bug again. Kind of surprised myself. So for those of you who were with me in the past, I always used to start my little episodes with prayers and praises. And you know what? If prayer is not your thing, you can always send some happy, kind, healing thoughts, because those are always appreciated too. And today I want to ask for prayers for a dear friend who is a former floss tuber, but still an avid stitcher. And she is in the hospital and just feeling under the weather and facing some serious hurdles in our group. So I would ask everyone to pray for her and her family and pray for her medical team, that they find the root of her illnesses and that they can heal her quickly and we can get her back in our Zooms. So thank you so much, everyone, for the prayers and the kind thoughts. Praying for everybody who has been dealing with this crazy cold, including us Floridians. Gets warm for a few days, gets cool again, and today I'm wearing long sleeves again. So you know it was chilly this morning. But let's get into the stitching, because like I said, I surprised myself. Now I think, well, the last time I was stitching or had just finished my blessing sampler, and I did take it to the framers, and hopefully it will be back soon. Well, I know it'll be back soon, and I can share that with you. So my blessing sampler, I did finish it in January. It was a small one, Plum Street, loved it. The tomato sampler, and when it comes back from the framers, I'll show you that before I put it on my wall. The other thing that I wanted to do, or I had talked about, was maybe doing the stitch sampler, and I'm sorry I don't remember, not sampler, just little stitch pillow from October House Fiber Arts, and I did it in like 2 days. I couldn't put it down, and I fully finished it, and I've already got all of my needles in it. But this was from October House Fiber Arts. This was kitted up by Jody Simply Stitching Ocala in her shop. So I had all of the floss I needed for it in the bag, and that made it easy peasy. I don't remember what this fabric is. I think it was just a remnant that I pulled out. But I didn't change any of the colors. I didn't do anything different than what the pattern called for. And I put my stitches in. This is the fabric here that she included with it. So I finished it up, and I always do a back, especially if I'm not going to do trim, I'll do the back slit, and then I just covered it up with, this might be some Tilda, it might be some Moda. You guys know that I get little fat quarter bundles and what are they called? We have jelly rolls. We have, well, y'all know, y'all are probably yelling at the screen, but I always like to get little packs of fabric. So I just picked a coordinating, cut it with the pinking shears, and then just stitched all around. And I need to order my 2026 little embellishments from Amazon to put on there. And that's it. She had included some chenille trim, and I didn't put it on here, but I did put it on something else. And I'm gonna show you why I didn't. I have this little stitchy tray that sits, and I just wanted to show you everything that was on it, on the stand by the chair I stitch. And Holly Neal turned kind of me on to this. I had it at a retreat, sent me the link for Etsy, and I'm sorry, I've had this for several years now. But I've got my little sewing box that I found thrifting. I've got a crocheted frog that a friend of my son's who crochets made. I've got my knitted flamingo that Kathy Walker gifted me, and they sit by me every night. I've got my little beast skip for my scissors, and my friend Jess Como Stitches gifted me these scissors at this last retreat, and they are perfect. My friend Deb Pryor made this little tomato. It's just full of things from my friends. Somebody at Stitch Florida gifted me this little needle book. And you know I've got to have my Stitcher's lotion. So now, after I finished it, and it's the reason I didn't put the trim on it, it sits perfectly right here with my scissors. And I put my needles on it. My table has like a little metal edge, and I had a lot of needle minders on it, but the dogs and the cat like to jump up on my chair, and their tails would always hit the needle minders. So this has just worked out perfect, and I just filled it with polyfill. So done and done. Then I got cocky, and I had finished Deck the Halls, and I'm pretty sure this is October House Fiber Arts. This was something that we did at Stitching in the Smokies, my table, but I just had it finished, just stitched. And when I was getting everything out for this pillow and deciding not to use the trim, I thought, well, the chenille would look perfect with this. So I took the chenille from that kit and put it on this one and finished it again into a long pillow. I know this is Tilda. This might be too, I don't know. These were just little packets that I have. So I finished it up. And again, I need to put my 2026 because I finished it in 2026. And this will go in the container with all of my Christmas pillows. And every time I fill a pillow, I forget until after the fact. I was helping last year at Stitch New England, and I was unboxing Blue Flower's trunk show. Blue Flower puts lavender in all of her pillows. It is the most delicious smelling trunk show you will ever unpack. And I keep saying I'm going to do that with my pillows so that they just, when I put them out to decorate, that they smell. And I forget every time. Y'all remind me for next time. I'm really doing a lot more pillows now because I don't put a lot of bric-a-brac. Well, I have a lot of bric-a-brac, so I don't add more to it. But I do have kind of a brass container and some silver Paul Revere bowls that I like to put pillows in for different occasions. So I am doing more of my small stitches into pillows so that I can display them. But I finished those two in one day, and I got cocky. I even texted Jess Como Stitches. I was like, look what I'm doing today. And I thought, why not go for gold and finish 3? And I had finished Home Sweet Home, Patriotic by Brenda Gervais with Thy Needle and Thread. That was the other one that I did in January. And this is when the bug just got me good. I could not put this down. It took me a week, but I couldn't put it down. And I finished it. It's all the call fors. I didn't make any changes. I did do it on kind of a pink over-dyed fabric, and I didn't have the tag for it. Looks great, doesn't it? I picked out, and I've used this fabric 100 times. Showed y'all last time. This fabric for the back. Got cocky. Started to rush to finish 3 in a day. Believe it or not, I checked it. And I'd like to say that my stitching is so beautiful that I can't tell the front from the back. But that would be a lie. And I did not put my right faces together. And of course, I didn't realize it until I had stitched all 4 pieces. And I could have unstitched it last week and redone it, but I just wanted to show y'all. We all make mistakes. Mistakes happen. I think sometimes on social media, we try to only show the perfect, our perfect stitches, our railroading, how we finish things, how our pillows look, and we don't show the ugly or the oopses. And I mean, my whole life is full of oopses. So I just wanted to show y'all. Yeah. One until I got to the last row and I thought, I was looking at this, I was like, man, my back looks good. Sure does, because it's the front. So I will unstitch and restitch her and fill her up and finish her for the next video. And then I told you this year I am not planning. I am stitching what I feel like stitching when I feel like stitching it. I am a monogamous stitcher, so by and large. But I have quite a few kitted up projects, and I really enjoy kitting them up, putting them in a bag, and having them ready when the moon strikes me, so that I don't have to do all of that kitting up before I can even start to stitch. I bought this pattern from Evertote, her with Roxy Floss Co. a few years ago. And it's by Jan Hicks Creates, and it's Antonia Puello 1913. And when I saw them show this, sorry for the glare, I had to have it immediately. It is a Spanish sampler, and y'all know me. This is where I'm from. And I just knew that I had to do this for my mother. Her name was not Antonia. Her name was Angelita. And I'm sure for the last 2 years, her birthday was in January. Her birthday was January 7th, and my daughter's is January 8th. I did not start it in January. I started it in February, but this is what I pulled out to do. This is done with Roxy Floss Co. Floss. It was a floss conversion that she did. I have stitched with Roxy Floss Co. a few other times, and I forget. If I could only ever stitch with Roxy Floss Co., and that's saying a lot because I like all of my threads. That floss just glides through any fabric using any kind of needle. And I don't know, this was already in the bag, and the bag did not have a card in it. So she doesn't look big, she will be big. Yeah. She doesn't have one border, or two, or even three. Antonia Puello stitched 6 borders. And a ton of alphabets. And I mean, I didn't know Antonia wasn't born in 1913, although I was born in the 1900s. Ask my children, they love to tell me that all the time. When I was growing up in Spain, the nuns taught us needlework. And we had books that we would have to graduate from to go to the next book. And I would sit there with my little booklets, and they would have a border and an alphabet. And you would stitch those, and when you stitched them and the nuns approved them, they would give you the next book. And it would have a different border and a different alphabet. So I'm guessing that this must have been kind of her school sampler, because it has 6 borders. And sorry, it's not focusing. Let me try to take it out and see if it'll be better. And all of these different alphabet styles. There, it's focusing a little bit. So I'm guessing this must have been her school sampler. I love it. I love it. If you don't like borders and alphabet, my sweet friend Kim, this one's not for you. But the borders are not complicated. And so once you start going, I mean, you count to the end of the top or whatever. I'm doing it by page. Then it's just repetitive. I mean, you can see they are very repetitive stitches. I did do the first alphabet across because I just wanted to see. But this is in memory of my mother. And I have to tell you, when I do sit and stitch on her, I talk to my mom in my head. We have conversations. And then at night, she visits me in my dreams. I love that. I love it, love it, love it. And so I did that one. And then I think I had shown y'all where I had started Candy Corn and Pumpkin by Stitches by Ethel for the Stitch Florida retreat that I host, thinking I was going to stitch. And I can promise you, and I showed last week, I had to frog everything that I had stitched at the retreat. But I did finish it. This was I don't normally stitch with 2 strands, but I did do 2 strands over 2 stitches on 32 because while I like prim, this just wasn't that feeling. I wanted really full coverage, but she's done. Candy Corn and Pumpkin by Stitches by Ethel. I have done several Stitches by Ethel and I love them. And I know my friend Missy does not like mice. I don't know why I think I'm Cinderella when I stitch a mouse, but I love them. I don't want them in real life. It was so fun. And I outlined and filled in. And then this is a motif fabric that I got from Felicia. And so I picked this for the backing. And I think it's just gonna look great with it. Quite pleased. Kind of plays off the quilt stars. And again, I'll make it into a pillow for one of my bowls. I do not decorate anymore for Halloween because my kids grow. I do fall and a little bit, you know, with my pillows and stuff. I used to do a Halloween tree and I had all the ornaments and I would put tchotchkes all over the house, but I think it's gonna look super cute. This came because I bought it at the Library Stitchers, their first year. It's the first thing I'd ever bought by Stitches by Ethel, and I think this was like on their raffle or table or something, and it came with a paddle from Stacy Clark's husband to mount it on. I'm gonna choose something else for that paddle. I'm just gonna make this into a pillow. So, and I can tell you, because I did have the card, that this was the called for DMC, and I did it on a 32 count color and cotton hay bale medium. So this fabric is hay bale medium by Color and Cotton, if anybody. And the crow was almost all outlined and the pumpkin was almost all outlined when I started stitching it last week. So this was another easy stitch, but I'm telling you, I got the bug. And then last night for the Super Bowl, I didn't want to stitch on Antonia Puello because although it's some repetitive stitching, you still have to pay attention. And I wasn't gonna miss Bad Bunny. And I wanted a small. I think Sundays I'm gonna work on some Prairie Schoolers Santas that I have left and some small pieces. And I think most of us are probably doing a little bit of Patriotic this year. And I said I wasn't gonna pick a number and do them, but I had this free chart and it is a shepherd's bush, and I'm just gonna show it really quickly. This was my L&S cross stitch cupboard. Every month has a different freebie. Another plus of going to an L&S if you have one. But it's called Patriotic Parade, and I got all of this done last night. And y'all know I love a sheep. I got all of this done last night. In fact, I just have to finish the flag and do Patriotic Parade on the bottom, and it's done. And I used the called for Week Style Works. It has 2 DMCs. It's not a lot of strands. So if you just want to do DMC, I mean, I maybe used a strand of each color. That's it. I mean, it is a teeny tiny little stitch. I will say that the directions say that this sheep has a star, a shepherd's bush. If you know them, they have lots of embellishments that you can put on, like if you make their stockings and stuff. I don't have it because again, this was free, but I have little star charms that I got off of Amazon, and I'm gonna just add it to that one in the center. Doesn't need it. I think it'd be super cute as is. Like I said, it just needs Patriotic Parade, and I need to do parchment up there. And it also says that they finished it, or they also, this was framed, they put it into a frame. I'm gonna make it into a pillow, but that they also stitched it into a pincushion, and that we could check their website, which is www.shepherdsbush.net, to see it as a pincushion. And I've never done a pincushion, but it definitely piqued my interest, and I thought, how cool would that be? I do have a Paul Revere silver bowl that I have tomatoes that Pryor has made, because anytime she makes them and sells them, I have to buy one. And my friend Jen, Allie, gifted us some at the Stitching in the Smokies, so that's in there too. I just love having all these goodies from my friends. I feel like they surround me all the time. So that's what I've been working on. I know it's been more than I thought. Working on my book of days. I didn't fill out a ton. Well, I didn't go get it until the middle of January, but I did do the last 2 weeks, and I've been keeping up with it every night. It sits by my chair, so I really don't have an excuse not to, but I filled out every day so far. Other years I've done cute little stickers. I've added cute little toppers. I've spiral bound it. This is my year of keeping it simple. I'm keeping it simple. I said it last time, and I'm so glad that a lot of you were doing it too and agreed with me. I'm going back to the old school of just stitching to stitch. It sits in my home. I have nobody to impress. I'm not trying to wow y'all on here. Couldn't if I tried, because if you've been with me for a while, you know. And I just want to get back to what I love. So that really concludes the stitching portion of these floss tubes. I told you these floss tubes would be short and sweet. Well, shorter anyway, because it's just my life right now. I've got the 2 boys in high school. I've got my daughter. I've got 3 dogs, a cat, and some fish. My son just sent me, right before I started filming, he had donated, if y'all have followed too, the trials and tribulations of our fish tank. When he started high school, he donated his, let's see if I get this right, albino blind golden dojo to the school, because they have an environmental science program that he is in. When we bought this fish, we did not realize that they are not supposed to be sold in fish stores. They are very aggressive, and you can't release them into the wild because they are aggressive. And ours got about this big. I don't know how they knew that it was a golden dojo if it's albino and blind, but he is now happily swimming in a very large fish tank by himself at my son's high school, and my son sees him every other day when he's in that building. So he sent me a picture today. I think he was fixing his hair in the reflection of the fish tank, quite frankly. The other thing that I have just become obsessed with again, I've always done it, but literally it's taken over my life, is thrifting for antiques. If you're a cross stitcher, I think antiquing kind of goes hand in hand. And we all love to thrift frames to frame our stitching and stuff in. And so on the weekends now, my husband, who really enjoys searching with me, believe it or not, we go out. And this weekend he took me up to Stuart, Florida, which is about an hour and a half north of us. And we went to a very large flea market and some antique shops, and then hit thrift stores all the way back to Fort Lauderdale. And I will include a short little video of, you know, when you buy 1 or 2 things at every little shop, and then you get home and unload the car, you realize that you may have purchased, but when I say purchased, I purchased quite a bit, but at $2 and $3, now it adds up. But probably the most expensive thing I bought this weekend was $10, except for a whole set of Limoges china. Had to have it. Kind of obsessed with Limoges china, even though I don't let anybody in my house touch it. And weirdly enough, I love sitting and watching floss tubes and polishing silver now. Yep, I do. If I'm not stitching, I'm polishing silver. I'm not cleaning toilets, but I'm polishing silver that I also don't let my family use. But anyway, I hope to be back again with you probably in another 2 weeks, because it's going to take me that long to have anything to show you. I hope that by that point I will have corrected this pillow to show you. I hope that I stitch this one up correctly and I can show you. I'm going to challenge myself to make a pin cushion. If any of you have any tips, tricks, or ideas on finishing this into a pin cushion, let me know. Or maybe I'll call my friend Deb Pryor. She does finishing, and see if she'll finish it for me. Because I'd hate to mess this up, even though it's little. And hopefully I'll have my blessing sampler back from the framer. So y'all have a blessed and wonderful week and weekend. My daughter and I are going up to Mount Dora this weekend for a Jane Austen festival. So that will be tons of fun and a great mom and daughter experience. Bye, y'all. Remember, choose joy, do what makes you happy, and forget about the rest. Life's hard enough.